Welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel, guys, and welcome back to another reading vlog. Today I am doing another reading vlog. I am in this huge mood to cry. I want a book to make me, to move me emotionally in the most beautiful way that I can imagine, which is reading sad books. But I do have a set TBR of books that I wish to read that I have been told are very sad. First one we do have is a book that I actually started last night, is On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. This one we are following Little Dog. We are seeing him writing letters to his mom and recalling certain memories that he has with his mom, the history that he comes from. Currently on page 21. I feel like I've learned a lot about Little Dog and the relationship that he had with his mom, or has with his mom. Also the relationship that he had with his grandmother, how those relationship shaped him, helped him become who he is, and the sacrifices that his mom has made. I'm not sure if this is a true story that he just so happened to turn into poetry that he decided to make into a novel. I think because it's in the form of letters, it feels like I'm reading someone's diary. I'm interested just to see the relationship that they have now when he's writing this letter. It is so quotable, guys. I'm on page 21 and I feel like I've underlined like 6 times already. I'm writing you from inside a body that used to be yours, which is to say I am writing as a son. I don't know, that moved me in a way that I did not expect. And I was just like, what English is this? He once told me that the human eye is God's loneliest creation. How so much of the world passes through the pupil and still holds nothing. And it just made me realize, I'm like, what do I see? I have eyes, I can see things, but like, what am I holding in that? What do I see? I don't know if that makes sense. It just made me think very deeply about what I see on a daily. When I read the synopsis of this book, I was like, who would name their child Little Dog? We get the history of why he was named Little Dog. And it's kind of interesting. Like, learning about people's cultures and why they do certain things is actually really interesting. The history behind his name, naming your child something so insignificant is actually the greatest honor that you can do for them. I'm not sure if I understood it, but that's how I got it. So far, I'm not mad at it. I'm enjoying it. Like, it's okay. It's the first book for this TBR. Second one is The Nightingale by Christine Hanna. Here we follow 2 sisters during the World War II. They get separated. We kind of see their journeys through this World War, how women were treated back in those days in France. And I just realized the font here is actually ridiculously tiny, guys. Like, you even see. How the heck am I going to finish this book? And it's like, I'm actually nervous now. There's almost like 500 pages with this tiny font. It's like 450. Last but definitely not least is Alone with You in the Ether, a love story by Olivia Blake. This is going to be my first Olivia Blake, and I'm really excited because I feel like Olivia Blake has been calling up to me. I've been watching a lot of YouTubers and also reading a lot of book reviews on Bookstagram, and a lot of people have just been reading the Atlas 6. How they talked about the book or how they reviewed the book just made me was like, maybe this is gonna be my next favorite author and I should try it. Even when I bought this book, a bookseller at Bargain Book literally said, you will love this book. So I really have high expectations. Actually, for these books, I really have high expectations and I'm really hoping that they do make me cry. So without further ado, let's go to reading. I will always be in awe of how writers explain things. I'm going to treat this book as if yes, it is that deep, because honestly, it is that deep. When I say I love beautiful writing, this is what I mean. Little Dog is remembering another memory from when he was young, and he's writing a letter to his mom and he's like, on a plane to California, do you remember this? You were giving him, my father, another chance, even with your nose still crooked from his countless backhands. He just said this. In this plane, they started experiencing turbulence. The turbulence was so bad that he lifted off the seats, and he was very young. He was 6. And then he started crying because it was making him nervous. And his mom basically is like, look outside, you know those clouds when we are up high, they actually turn into boulders, they turn into hard rocks. And then he says, yes, of course the plane shook. We're moving through rocks. Our flight's a supernatural perseverance of passage. Because to go back to that man took that kind of magic. I will always be in awe of how writers explain things. I love beautiful writing. Yeah, that's all. No object is in a constant relationship with pleasure. For the writer, however, it is the mother tongue. Barthes wrote. But what if the mother tongue is stunned? What if that tongue is not only the symbol of void, but it is itself a void? What if the tongue is cut out? Can one take pleasure in loss without losing oneself entirely? For the past 2 pages, I feel like I've been reading about like the immigration and the language barrier and how important it is to know one's mother tongue. This is heartbreaking because I read a scene. She failed to even order oxtail because she couldn't speak English. Just like the struggle of not knowing certain languages or not being understood. Whereas when your own people don't know what you're saying, right? I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too deeply about it, but I just think it's another beautiful conversation, or that just moved me. This is what I wanted. I don't know why I'm getting shocked, because this is exactly what I wanted. Hi guys, today is the next day and I'm back to give you guys an update. I basically binged this book. Let me just breathe so that I can give you guys like my thoughts. This book is very beloved and I understand why it is loved. It has beautiful writing. I found the writing or the structure of the book to be very unique. I have never read something like this before. It was kind of love-hate thing with how the book was structured. I also enjoyed seeing the mother and son relationship from the son's point of view. Since children are not often understood from when they're coming from or how they view their parents, they're supposed to be just grateful for what they're given and what they get. Obviously the writing is amazing. I have marked so many parts. At some point, I think from part 2 going to part 3, I like binged it. I also enjoyed the fact that I did cry. I really enjoyed that. I still remember the part where I actually cried. I found it to be very monumental, and how Ocean Vuong explained that moment was just so beautiful. I'll find the quote and put it. I thought it was so beautiful, so well written, so poetic. I'm glad that this book made me cry because I was looking for that. It is unapologetically raw, deals with or has commentary on certain topics that a lot of people will not be comfortable with reading. I went into this book blind, didn't necessarily read any trigger warnings if there are any. It does touch on things, sort of abuse, that in certain cultures I think hitting a child is a form of discipline. From this point of view, it kind of came across as an abuse. I also enjoyed the commentary on Lan, who is a little dog's grandmother, but said, your mom is not well, we have some illnesses in the head. And little dog puts that into parallel with his own illnesses, with his own addiction, which furthermore goes into the commentary of America and uses of drugs. What I did not enjoy, I thought this book was just going to be entirely about a mother and a son. The part of me expected to read a letter from the mother, but I did not get that, and that kind of took away something from me. What Ocean Vuong does, in the midst of him giving us this history, he would pause to give us another history of something or of a different day. It's going to be in a different timeline, which will lead to another thing, which is also a different timeline, only to go back to the history of Lan and his mom. I got irritated at that because it took away from the moment that I was having. But besides that, overall, this book is a solid 4-star. I'm glad that this book made me cry. I know which book I'm going to read next. I'm sure you're going to see in the next clips. Hi guys, I am in my favorite hoodie because I'm about to do my favorite thing. I'm going to start Alone with You in the Ether, a love song by Oliver Bake. A lot of people have said I must read this book with tissues on my side. And you better not let me down, guys. I really need a good cry. Like, I'm all for beautiful writing, but I need to stop. Have my favorite Red Bull here. They did their big one, okay? This is my favorite flavor. It's also probably not a good idea drinking it at this time. I have my water, so let's read. Why do you read so much? Why do you read so much? Did you know that bees flapped their wings 11,400 times per minute? I didn't know that. I learned that today. That's why it creates the bzzz sound. It's because they 11,400 times. I can't say I can't believe that, but I can't believe it. Currently on page 59, which is part 2, it's called Conversations. What a pleasant surprise. This book kind of has all the things that I dislike in books. It's told in third person. It's told in third person, but you can tell whose POV it is. And it has not chapters, paragraphs. It's just paragraphs. Aldo is a lecturer in a university. He's doing his PhD in maths, and he is fixated on hexagons, beads, and time travel. That he feels like his life is a constant of nothing. Regan, I enjoy her. Like, she's such a likable character to me. I like her. Regan is a docent, which I just found that is a fancy word for a tour guide of a museum. He has a degree in art history, but she got into some trouble. She got arrested a couple of years ago. She's just going on her day-to-day with no expectations for life. There's nothing really exciting that happens for her. Nothing surprises her. Everything is the same, and she expects little from people. She's in a mediocre relationship. It scares her to get the freedom, but she seeks it. And then they meet randomly. Like, I was not expecting it. I was expecting it to be like but it was so random, and it just came out of nowhere. I think it makes sense because first page it basically says day was unspecially special. I forgot the line. I'm enjoying this writing. This writing is very beautiful, very deep. It's very, I don't want to say it's heavy. I'm looking for a word that will describe this feeling that I felt. Like, I think at one point she was describing Aldo's hair. She's saying that he has bad haircuts, but the way that it was described, it was the most beautiful thing I have ever written. Like, I've kind of lined things that have moved me, things that I find funny. At one point, Regan's sister was sending her a voicemail saying, I think she was asking her sister something, and I was like, I need you to give me a proper answer. I don't want you to send me cryptic gifs that don't make sense, that are not funny. And I found that funny because I do that. When they do meet, sorry, I digress. But when they do meet, it's very random, but it becomes a moment. They give each other something that the other person has been missing. Like, for Regan, Aldo is unexpected. Like, he doesn't do or say the things that she expects him to do or say. And for Aldo, Regan is so interesting because she is portraying herself as this type of person, but he can like see her. Like, he's very observant of her. Like, when she lies, he can like clock it. So right now, they are hanging out. They're basically just have decided to make this deal. They are going to have 6 conversations in total. That's how long they're going to hang out, in 6 conversations. So I don't know how that is going to go. Besides that, I just hope nobody dies. they have tension, but also the tension is like, it's very intellectual. And I don't know why that's tickling my little brain. And I've been listening to the Spotify playlist for this book. So amazing. Like, I'm enjoying it so much. It's the perfect mood. It's gloomy right now, so I'm just like, I'm having the time of my life. Once I start reading, I do not want to stop, which is a good thing. But also it's like, I'm so scared. You know when you're scared of having like a good time? And I don't know if you guys feel this, but I'm scared of having such a good time, because what if this is like the best book I've ever read? Like, how am I going to recover? Do you know the hangover I'm going to be in? Oh, I like it. I'm so scared, guys. That's all I had to say for now. I hope that I made sense. Let me go back to reading. Learning so much about bees against my own will. Like, this book is giving me so much information without feeling like I'm being force-fed information. You get what I'm saying? Learning so much about bees and arts. I don't know if I'm probably never going to use this, but it will be such a fun fact thing to be like, hey, did you know? This is how I learn, guys. Write books with good information and don't make it seem like it's a research paper. Thank you. Page 67. Mm-hmm. 168, which is part 4, which is called First. I unintentionally read the first line of part 4, and I literally, like, I screamed out loud. I had a cause what? It's happening. Don't panic. It's happening. Another trope that this book has, which is not like my favorite trope, it's slow burn. Do I like slow burn now? I'm eating it up. It's like insane. This book, what I'm getting so far is that it is character driven. I'm learning so much about Regan and Aldo as individuals and the people around them. Writing here is absolutely amazing. Regan is bipolar, but what I'm enjoying is not how loud that it is portrayed. You see it in bits and pieces, like it's in crumbs. Another thing that I want to talk about, I have never been so interested in bees, hexagons, and the history of art. I find myself being, which is something that obviously we can, oh, these bees, this is a bee, it makes sense. Hexagons, guys, the cover just makes sense now. A single word that I can use to describe this book is definitely intense. It feels very important, even though I feel like on the surface it's not. The way that she writes and the way that she structures her characters, it's so beautiful. These two are messed up in what other people in society would say nowadays. Aldo is antisocial. Regan is a privileged girl who's bipolar. She's not necessarily doing anything with her life. Blake did here in the beginning. He would set up a scene, and then he would have like the narrator who is like a 13-year-old teenager who's sounding uninterested, and then we'll go further explaining the scenery or the moment. I was enjoying that, and she stopped doing it, and like, bring it back. The story is just like phenomenal. It's out of this world. to start part 6, which is called Turns. I am still enjoying it, even though I feel like part 5, which is called Variables, had some good moments, but in the most part it felt quite repetitive. They both have fixations to not feel what they are really going through. I think I've told you guys that Aldo has had some sort of addiction in order to not think about that moment, or in order to not think about why he did that. He started being fixated on Matt. It was like he moved from one obsession to another. Regan moves from a certain kind of obsession, which is like from one person to another. Feel in the same routine of destructive relationships when it comes to men. For me, I feel like the relationship that she has, obviously with Aldo, is too good of a relationship, even though it's slightly obsessive, but it's a good relationship because she is finally feeling. There are certain feelings that she has, and she's doing something that she truly loves. So it felt slightly repetitive, and I still haven't cried. And that's the whole point of this video. The writing here is so simple, but it's so monumental at the same time. I feel like she's saying everything but nothing. I feel like she's saying everything but nothing. Like, everything is so intense, written intensely. Sometimes I feel like she's not saying anything, but the writing is beautiful, so I'm eating it up. Let me read, and I don't know, I think I'll just read for tonight, and then I'll sleep, and then I'll give you guys an update like when I'm done. Obviously, I haven't cried. I'm worried. Hi guys, it is the next day. I finally finished Alone with You in the Ether. I love this book. I really enjoyed this book for what it is. Actually, the writing, there were so many moments where I felt intense feelings towards the writing, but it did not do what I wanted it to do. I did not cry. I didn't even have moments where I was like, oh, I want to cry. I'm giving this book a 4-star. This is like my kind of romance that is like lit, ficky. It doesn't feel light. It doesn't feel fluffy. It feels intense. It feels like a type of love that will ruin you for anybody else who tries to get with you. And I absolutely love their love story. Obviously, I went into this book hoping to cry, but I didn't. But for what this book is, guys, it is absolutely beautiful. I love it so much. The last 10 pages of this book, I was expecting it to be just like how I was expecting When They Met to be like that, but it didn't do that. So I don't know if that was intentional. The entire book, the conversation, the thing of like right person, right time, even like really exist. And like you go through those emotions the entire book, and you question that also as a reader, but you just know that they were meant to be together, because when they are in their own POVs and they explain how much deeply they feel for each other, it's actually fucking insane. With the acknowledgement, and she just says it was not her intention to make it light, to show that people with certain illnesses deserve love or are capable of loving, that it looks different or it feels different. And I love that. 4 stars with this book. Really enjoyed it, but did not cry. Somebody sedate me. Bring in the waterworks. Well, upon further introspection and knowing who I am, I'm not about to finish this almost 500 page with its tiny font book in this reading vlog. It's just unrealistic of me to think so. I am a slow reader after all, so I'm not going to push myself. I'm not going to do that. It's unnecessary anxiety that I'm putting on myself, so I'm not going to do it. That is all for this reading vlog, guys. I really do hope that you did enjoy it. If you did, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Comment down below if you're going to be reading any books. Comment if summer or winter is like your favorite season. Thank you so much for making it to this point of the video. I will see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye.